St. Thomas, Nevada had only a couple hundred residents when they were told back in the 20s that their town would be submerged under Lake Mead. And it sat under 50 to 60 feet of water for 74 years. It has emerged many times since 1938, but for the past 5 years, Lake Mead is nowhere to be seen. And apparently, the Park Service is confident that it won't be submerged again because they've opened a hiking trail down to Old St. Thomas. It's not exactly a ghost town, but it sure seemed interesting. So I went down and I thought you might enjoy seeing what's in the middle of Lake Mead. This marker at the head of the trail doesn't really tell you very much about St. Thomas. And when you get down to the town, there are no markers to identify any of the buildings. So I've done some research and I'll share what I've learned as we drive toward the trailhead. St. Thomas was founded by Mormon settlers. In 1865, they were ordered by Brigham Young to come to this area and grow cotton. By the end of the following year, 45 families had settled in the area and were farming, but they thought they were in Utah. That meant they had to pay a poll tax, and they also had to pay their taxes in gold. Although they'd lived there for 5 years, they just got up and moved away. But they left all the buildings standing and all the fields cleared, so other people just moved in. Saloons and horse races in the street. It was a pretty rough place for a while, but eventually Mormon families started moving there again. And by the end of the 1800s, there were almost 2,000 people living there. It had a vibrant farming community as well as mining. There was gold and copper mines and salt mines in the hills close by. In 1912, the railroad built a spur to St. Thomas to haul out all the produce and the ore. And the Arrowhead Trail went right through the town. But when Congress approved the Hoover Dam and surveyors started arriving, the residents were told they were in the dam's path. And people started dismantling their houses and moving out. Before the water got there, most of the buildings were knocked down, dismantled, or moved. The orchards and many of the large shade trees were cut down so they wouldn't snag boats from the bottom of the lake.
Looks like now I'm entering what might be the shores of the lake. It's kind of a spooky little overgrown area. Oh, can't see. Way back there is where I started. Isn't this gorgeous?
As we go through the town, I'll try to show you on this map where we are.
I'm on the lake floor now. This is my first piece of building or something. St. Thomas is still way down the road. So I'll just keep going. The path is, they say it's not maintained, but it's very nice. It's pretty maintained. People have gone off here on the side. I think I've arrived. Wanted to see why they had so much black stone. Huh. Maybe it had a stone basement. Find out what that big thing is.
It was a darn good place to live. At the time, you hated it, but it was probably the best thing that could have happened. Many people were just barely scraping by. The dam brought jobs and some prosperity to the region. Eller goes on to say, if St. Thomas hadn't been flooded, we all would have starved. And half jokingly, we didn't know how poor we were. St. Thomas wasn't the only settlement in this area. Straight down from town is the bank of the muddy river that joins the Virgin River a few miles south. And that's what I was most interested in seeing, because this is the home of ancient Pueblo people that settled in this valley thousands of years ago. I walked down to its banks to see if it was possible to walk down the river and maybe get a glimpse of the ancient settlement. So far, I haven't figured out how to get down there.